Hi, my name is Danielle Haggerty, and for my Who's Who in Design project, I chose Whitney Warren. Whitney Warren was born in 1864 in New York City. He spent 10 years studying at the National Superior Art School in Paris. After studying in Paris, he brought back with him the knowledge of European classicism and many of the principles of the Beaux-Arts design and planning. When he came back from Paris, he actually invited Charles Wetmore to become his partner in an architecture firm. Wetmore was a lawyer, a businessman, and a real estate developer who was educated at Harvard, and together they started the architecture firm Warren and Wetmore. Two of my favorite structures that Whitney Warren designed were the Grand Central Terminal in New York and the Michigan Central Station in Detroit. At the turn of the 20th century, Cornelius Vanderbilt forged a railroad empire in New York. Grand Central Terminal was able to connect many different rail lines together in a central location. Whitney Warren helped merge both efficiency and elegance when he helped design Grand Central Terminal because it had such an appealing aesthetic from the outside. Most notably, Warren proposed the idea of the three arches, which make this building very unique compared to any of the other buildings of that time. Grand Central Terminal is actually one of the most notable and recognizable buildings in the world, and I'm intrigued by this design because it is so well known and so well done for that time period. Michigan Central Station was designed by Warren and Wetmore in partnership with Reed and Stem because of Detroit's booming railroad business. Not only was it a railroad station, but it actually had 18 stories worth of office towers above the train depot, which is a really cool concept to have office buildings right above the train station because it does make it convenient for people to get to and from work. Now, this is my favorite building in Detroit, and I see how massive this building is and how beautiful and ornate the architecture is, and it makes me really upset to see, since it's been closed, it's been destroyed, and really not taken care of at all. And I can only imagine how beautiful the station was at its opening. This piece is probably the most critical in understanding, what Detroit was like at its peak and understanding, how the city is now. Warren stuck very much to what he studied in Paris. He did bring over a lot of knowledge about the classicism design as well as Beaux-Arts style of architecture. But many of his designs have very similar details, and all of them do go back to that European style. Now, I'm a fan of the European classicism style, and I really think it's important to note that through all of his collaborations and his knowledge from studying in Paris was able to be merged with the modern ideas of that time, and that created a really nice balance between old and new that can be seen in his architecture. I also really like all of the details that Warren put into his work. Much of the stonework and statues and designs, they were carved right out of the stone, which is something that a lot of modern design has lost. There isn't much that I dislike about his work. I like a lot of it because it is so different from one another. It's because he collaborated with so many other people and firms, allowing each of his pieces to be a little bit different. They all have the Beaux-Arts elements, but they were differentiated from one another.